I'm Benny.
I'm Michael I'm Michael Patricia.
Welcome to the Backpedalers podcast.
We're already breaking into the red. It's been too long.
Yeah, it's been what?
It's been since beginning of summer. Did we do any podcast during summer?
No, we did the Expendables podcast.
Okay, that was like 2 weeks in, something like that.
Something like that. But we did one that won't ever be released because you were on edge the entire time.
Yeah,
because you thought it was going to be late for work.
That's not coming out.
So basically, this podcast is to talk about that one.
All right.
Like what we talked about, like school. What happened, Dylan?
What did happen? I don't remember what we talked about last podcast.
You stopped going to school.
Oh yeah, I stopped going to school. I failed 2 of the 4 exams in a row for my just algebra. So I was like, okay, well, there's absolutely no way to pass after dropping this. So this is gone. And I had already been dropped from my trig class because I was doing well in that class, and then I woke up like an hour after my alarm went off. It had been going on for an hour, and I hadn't woken up, so I missed my bus, and it's an auto drop from his class if you missed the first exam, so I just disappeared from school for a little bit.
You didn't tell me.
I didn't tell you. No.
Well, that was the theme of last semester's everyone left. I was alone.
Yeah.
And I ended up making a student film.
We're back.
But we're back.
Dinosaur story.
You got your Pampers on?
I got my Pampers on.
You're about to get your dick sucked.
I'm about to get my dick sucked.
All right. So Dylan and I have math together this semester.
Yeah.
Because he has to retake it, and I haven't taken math in 2.5 years. So this morning I had like a heart attack because of our review.
All they did was put polynomials on the board and with no instructions. And so all we were supposed to do was just add the polynomials up together, and then it went further down, and we just distributed just stuff we already knew how to do. But the lack of instructions made it like, what the fuck do we do? So like she put them up, and then I added them together, and went, okay, I gotta factor this. Now I factored. Now what she want me to do? So I've got like 6 lines going on the first problem, and she comes along. She's like, "How's it looking?" And I'm like, It's coming back, I guess." And she goes over to Jeremy, and he's like, It's been way too long. I don't know what's going on. She's like, "Oh, okay." You know.
I think I said the words, I remember these existed.
Yeah, you said, you're like, "I remember that these existed, but that's pretty much it."
And she's like, "It's okay, we'll go over it." And
then,
like the guy in front of me is like, "It's been like 30 years."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my god."
The guy behind me was like, "Yeah, it's been 13 years. I'm like, "I thought that guy was my age." I'm like, "What was this?" There's a bunch of 7 years, 3 years. That guy said like 30 years.
It was crazy.
It's gonna be a good semester. I didn't even know he was taking the class. I had taken the first bus so I could, like that big red line. I had taken the first bus so I could buy my book before class, but then I left my wallet in my
butthole.
My beehole. And my roommates and her new roommate that I'll get into details later.
Oh god.
In their room, and I was not going to disturb them at 6 in the morning, say, "Hey guys, I'm going to turn the lights on, gotta find my wallet." So, I'm just sitting there, just waiting for class to start, and Jeremy's already there. He's always there before I show up.
Yeah.
Back to the old, messages me 2 minutes before the bus arrives, asking where I am, so I don't message back. Every semester, every single semester, he asks where I am.
It's like a daily thing.
I never reply because I'm almost there. I'm like walking down the stairs, and he says, "Where are you?" And he looks over like he's been waiting 3 minutes. He goes, "Where have you been?" Like, I just got off the bus. The very first bus. Anyway, I'm waiting. We get to dropping what we missed in the summertime. And he asked what class I have, and I'm like, "College algebra." And he goes, "Okay. What time's your class?" I go, 9. He's like, "Just take it with me." I said, "All right." So I add into the class, drop my other one. And that's essentially the only school update. Quickly, I'll just go through the living update. I don't remember if the podcast of me moving in with the famous, notorious Michael Patricia, who we will have on the podcast hopefully
within the next couple of episodes.
Within the next 20 minutes, I hope he arrives. You might have him as a late special guest, but I moved into his house, but I didn't stay there. I just moved in his house, and I stayed at my at one friend's house, and when I wasn't living with her, I was staying at another friend's house. And it's just gone right back to living with the first friend because she lives close to my work. And Michael's gotten to the point where he's moved in with the same friend, so all of us are living in the same place, and we all work at the same.
There's more to it, but we're not sure what we can say and what we can't say now. So
lack of details is fine for summary.
So I'll get into what I did after you all fucking abandoned me last semester. So I made the student film. A lot of you have already watched it. Thank you, by the way. It means a lot. It's probably one of the biggest projects I've ever done. It was very time-consuming. I didn't direct, but I ended up doing a little directing when things needed to be done. I was producing mainly.
Okay.
I also did a lot of camera operating. I acted in it. I wrote a good chunk of it. I basically did a whole lot of things just 'cause, I dabbled. And unfortunately, during that time, YouTube ceased to exist. It got so bad I wasn't watching my subscribed videos, I wasn't putting out any content. I was reading still, a little bit. I'm mainly doing the audiobook thing. So that's why recently there's been a slew of reviews, and there'll be more coming. But it was a bit of a nightmare last semester. I finished up a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I now have once I get the general ed done, of course, I'll have
6 more to go.
A video degree. A degree in radio, TV.
How many certificates? Was it you who's like...
Oh, that changed. We can get into that. So I was going to plan on getting a bunch of associates and not going for a 4-year degree. But I dropped a whole lot of that last semester.
Because you were like 3 classes away from having like just a million certificates just in your pocket.
I had a lot going on, but it was a lot of work that wasn't worth it, in my opinion. Technically, I could get another film degree, and I have 2 classes that I'd have to take, and then I get another 2 certificates on top of that. But I'm working on my computer science degree right now. I might be getting my programming degree. It all depends on if I go to Chico State or not, because a lot of the programming classes just get stuff out of the way that's at Chico State.
Everything at Chico State's better, obviously. It's a university compared to community college. Well, when I say everything, I mean math and sciences, which is where I'm coming in for.
Yeah, their film department's trash,
well,
apparently.
I know nothing about it, so ours seems pretty nice, so...
But, I wanted to get... I just can't afford it, So, I might do that there. I might even move out of state for the last 2 years for my 4-year.
And we'll drop the Backpedalers off the air, going on Skype, going on Discord. Maybe record a couple.
Fuck Discord.
Fuck Discord. What are you using?
Do it on Skype.
Curse? Skype?
We do it on Google Hangout.
All right, we'll do it on Google Hangout. We'll do it on Tiny Chat.
We'll do it on AOL Messenger.
Is there voice chat on AOL Messenger?
Text-only podcast.
Text-only, all right.
It's just a transcript.
I'll download one of those third-party like APK files so it can record our calls, and I'll make a phone call to you, and I'll send you that audio, and then you'll edit it. And
technically, I have that cable right over there is because of Star Wars Legends has to change format. Because of Google Hangouts updating and being trash.
What episode are we on in this podcast?
6.
6? We haven't talked about Star Wars once?
No, it's off the table.
Off the table? Alright, that's fine for me.
Unless you wanted to talk Last Jedi.
I was going to say, all my opinion is going to be what everyone's heard. The opinion seems to be with everybody that when they ask everyone and their friends, they say, oh yeah, it was great, but everyone online says they hate it. Because people don't understand that opinions are weighed versus others' opinions, so if you like go and ask your mom how was it, she's gonna say it was great because she's saying it were her experience. If you ask someone online like how was Last Jedi, they're like, okay, hundreds of thousands of people could potentially be viewing this, so I'm gonna tear it apart. My biggest criticisms with the movie. Wow, I had nothing prepared. I just started talking. I assumed the thought would come straight to mind. My biggest criticisms were that it tried way too hard to both be different and be the same. And there's been like 1,000 like images of people just saying like, oh, Star Wars fans complain because it was too much like the original trilogy. Oh, too different from the original trilogy. There's no mid ground that needs to be done. If it feels like Star Wars, we'll enjoy Star Wars. If we're watching the movie and Luke comically tosses his lightsaber to the side, you're like, oh, okay, well, that scene means very little now. And then R2-D2 shows up, and then Chewbacca shows up. You start wondering, what the pace of the movie is taking, and then Luke drinks the green fucking dick nipple juice from the space cow, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a Star Wars I know and love. You did that perfectly. Thank you. For a short general review to keep it as little as an entire podcast talking about The Last Jedi from what everyone's heard already. I liked the pacing of the movie. I liked a lot of the stuff they did with the movie. Most of it wasn't super obvious. Even when it was obvious, it played it straight, so you still had fun with the movie. A lot of it was fun. It took itself seriously a little less than I wanted it to. It tried doing that Marvel, we can have fun while making a serious movie, but they jumped way too much with it. Like, there's a million examples. Essentially, whenever they want to tell a joke, there's no tongue-in-cheek involved. It's literally just the God, I can't remember what's the girl's name, the apprentice.
Rey.
Who become Rey. Rey goes up and hands the lightsaber to Luke, and it's playing all the dramatic music. You're like, oh shit, okay,
and the music stops for the joke.
And as soon as he grabs the lightsaber, he just flings it behind his back, and the music stops immediately.
And I'll be honest, I hate when they do that in the Marvel movies too. I hate that. That's called bad writing. That's bad writing. That's all. These directors have and writers have a quota from Disney that they have to put a certain amount of jokes in their movies, and they just don't know how to put them in, so they just throw them in that's fine.
It's always the first 15 to 20 minutes of every Marvel movie is you're watching the movie, and then it's getting into the real God, they're just dumping exposition on you. You're meeting the characters. You're seeing who's going to be your good guy and your bad guy for the movie, and then someone takes a bite out of a donut and it squishes on their face, and you're like, that's funny. They're a superhero. Something goofy slapstick happened to them, and that happens about 8 more times, and then you can enjoy your movie. It felt like that, but it just kept happening when it shouldn't have been happening. It'd be in a really serious movie, okay. It'd be a really serious moment between just any two characters. It didn't matter whether it's two friendly characters, two bad characters that you are having a power struggle. They just toss the joke in there. The closest to them doing it correctly was when the fucking who's the space Nazi? Who is that? Who is the old guy?
Snoke?
No, not Snoke. Who is the
General Hux?
General Hux, yeah.
The ginger?
When Snoke was calling in, I don't have my thoughts straight. When one of his little underlings came up and said that he's got a transmission from Snoke, and he just goes, oh, tell him I'm not here. And she goes, oh, he's already on. And he goes, what? And he turns around, there's just a giant Snoke face screaming at him. That's something you'd see in a kid's movie. That's like Transformers.
But at the same time, you had really violent things in this movie. someone gets cut in half.
Ooh, we got Michael Petruccia.
Yeah, Michael's here. Someone gets brutally cut in half. Now, granted, it was a bad guy, and it wasn't a human, but that happens. A bunch of people get sucked out into space. People get freaking murdered. Crazy.
Yeah, people get fucking trampled. It's awesome.
People... Oh, that casino scene. Can I get into briefly why I hate this movie?
The casino scene was going to be my biggest fuck you of the movie.
Oh my god.
Because just looking at it as one-dimensionally as I can...
And welcome Michael Petruccia and his Jufro.
Don't say my name.
Yes, we've been calling you that.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I'm Michael Petruccia.
We've been warming you up for the podcast.
That's bullshit.
He's finally here.
Dude, just clean off that spot.
Alright.
We're leaving this all in.
We got some live audio editing. No, don't.
All right, well, let's
involved.
continue.
Anyway, nice Pokemon reference. Lando, good one.
That's a
anyway,
good one.
From start to finish, it's basically traditional Star Wars. Just the humor has changed, but there is. How long is the casino scene?
Too long, and it has no purpose to the plot.
It serves literally no purpose to the plot. They're looking for. They don't even disguise the language. They call him a master hacker.
Yeah, it was really bad, like 90s Hollywood.
They say they're looking for a master hacker, so they go to this casino and they go searching around and they go try not to cause trouble. They're saying, "Oh, these are the fucking bad guys that sell weapons to the to the bad guys."
Well,
and then
can we backpedal a little bit to Rose?
Yeah,
the Asian girl.
Go ahead, you can take it.
Worst character in a Star Wars movie. She served no purpose to the plot whatsoever. I mean, the time this comes out, the Legends podcast, where we talk in detail about how bad Last Jedi was at times, will be out, so you all know my opinion. But Rose served no purpose.
Okay, I remember what you're talking about now.
Oh,
she has if you take away the casino scene, she has 4 total minutes of screen time.
Yeah, and once fangirling over Finn,
you could literally
who reverted in character in this movie for no reason.
I mean, I feel like her purpose was to attempt to humanize Finn. I don't think it really was successful.
Well,
but I think that was their intention.
It shouldn't have gotten to the...
bad for John Boyega because J.J. Abrams' script, and it was J.J. Abrams' script that was Force Awakens, because they got rid of the other guys and J.J. Abrams rewrote the movie. They gave him a whole bunch of really bad jokes in Force Awakens that all fell flat.
It was clear.
That if you read the Alan Dean Foster novel, not in it at all. He just took them all out, and it's just totalitarian dialogue for his plot points. But in this, it was Lawrence Kasdan didn't know what to do with them, and so he's like, "Oh, I guess I'm running away now." Even though I fought Kylo Ren, I stood up to the face of what my oppression. I'm still going to run away.
People are still back at 15 years ago when they thought movies were boring if they had too much dialogue. Children watch these movies and they just kind of fall asleep through the dialogue parts, but they love it for the action and they hear the important parts. You don't need to throw jokes in there. If a kid laughs at the joke, that doesn't mean they like the movie suddenly. Making a character that literally serves one purpose, and that's to undo the character degrowth that happened with him is pointless. They just shouldn't have written him to be like that. They didn't have to put a character in that undid all the... I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just to make this quick, let's just do a top 5 things we didn't like about the movie, and then top 5 things we liked, just so we don't go because I guarantee this will be completely different than the Star Wars Legends top 5s I'm gonna give.
How specific are these top 5s gotta be?
Well, I'll fucking start with top 5 worst things. Number 5 had to be any Luke jokes, because the Luke and Rey plotline is probably the best part of the movie because it's something kind of different, and I kind of liked it, and it was very philosophical with Luke's arc, but Luke drinking the milk from the
Okay, that's my number one best.
It was pretty funny, but I didn't understand why it was in the movie.
It's because it's Star Wars. If they didn't have a monster show up, if they have a beast show up in there,
people would become porgs everywhere.
They barely look fantastical. They
were adorable.
They didn't have big elephant trunks and
Chewbacca ate
lay
one.
down on their
that
bellies.
Was the best part of the movie.
He did fucking ate one.
Eat
one.
He ate one. He ate one.
He did eat one.
He did ate one. Is that what you?
Yeah, he had an eating. What about it?
All right, gentlemen, I've gathered you here for this eating.
It's hard not to go into detail because on both parts that you mentioned, their relationship was interesting because it was familiar, but they just took a slightly different take on it, and that made you want more whenever they start talking about it. And then they couldn't take it seriously enough, like when they had the meditating session where she first starts tapping into the Force. Okay, that was the one kind of funny joke where
that got a laugh out of me.
I laughed out loud in the movie theater. That's
why I didn't add that into bad Luke jokes. That was a good Luke joke.
He had her stick her hands out, and then he's like tickling her with the feather. He's like, "Do you feel that?" She's like, "Oh yes, I feel it." He's like, "You do?" And then he fucking smacks her hand, and it's as long as it needs to be, and it didn't delve into it anymore.
If that was the only joke in the movie, it would have been a significantly better movie.
That was like a Lewis Black joke. That's Lewis Black humor.
But then shortly afterward, I still don't know if it's a joke or not. Where they actually start meditating and she sees
she's drawn to the
representative of the dark side of the Force, and he immediately fucking pulls her out of it because she just keeps going. And he goes, "You went straight to the dark side," and then he kind of holds on it. You're
that wasn't a joke. I don't think. I think it was played straight.
with how they held on it, I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not. That's what I was saying. I heard one guy in the background go ha 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 after they brought up the dark side one. I was like, maybe it was a joke. I thought it was funny, but it wasn't supposed to be funny.
His delivery was campy. How he said.
I was gonna say it's probably just the delivery.
That first half of that movie,
the line
dialogues was bad.
It's either the line or the delivery. If one of the two was changed, I'm sure you shouldn't have to second guess.
Part time.
Okay.
That was bad. Speaking of bad line delivery,
yeah, that was pretty good.
That was a pretty good one.
One of my least favorite, top 5 least favorite. That's how you put it. Bottom 5 moments. Can I just say the entire casino scene?
Yeah, that's gonna be one of mine too. We'll talk about it.
If not for the sake of how much screen time it just sucked out of the movie and how it literally served no purpose. It was entirely filler. It was just to remind you that they can go on little espionage adventures that literally amounts to, oh, it didn't work out. I just felt like I was cheated out of all that footage.
And the whole Benicio del Toro thing, I like Benicio del Toro as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I like the character of DJ. His little stutter, and he sells them out. It was the Lando thing, but it wasn't the Lando thing. It was the one thing that they're like, remember this from the original trilogy thing that I actually kind of liked.
That's what I mean about
it was fresh.
About the familiarity is what we need. We don't literally need a character to come back, or we don't literally need a character to say.
Well, I mean, I would have liked having Lando Calrissian in this movie.
Okay.
That would have been
that
nice.
That
would have given me a tickle.
Okay,
they're running out of characters for the original trilogy that are literally dead in real life, or they killed them off.
God, not a good character to forget the name of. Who's the guy with the big giant Harley Quinn baby face? Who fucking blew up the Death Star?
Oh, Nine Numb. He's in there.
Yeah, he's there. He's just
he
there.
Was in Force Awakens
for a couple seconds. He just sits there and
well, he was flying an X-wing in Force Awakens.
Yeah, I mean, he
was one of the few pilots that came back. That was another.
He did something there, but in this movie, he's like, I assume you can argue that he's there to show you that he's there. I don't know if it's supposed to show that they're powerless against them because look at this great hero, and he's just reduced to hiding on the bridge like everyone else. But before I forget, one of my bottom moments definitely needs to be how they fucking treated Admiral Ackbar's death. I forgot he died in the movie.
Well, he died in real life. The voice actor died.
He's
right
not
after
real.
Force
He's an
Awakens.
alien.
Well, no, the voice actor died. That's what
God
I just
damn it.
said.
That's different.
I'll be right back.
All right. Well, Jeremy's gone. He's leaving the podcast. I'm taking over now.
Did you call Mom?
You know, it'd be hilarious to say the N-word on the podcast.
What the hard R?
Yeah, the one that Jeremy's gonna have to edit out.
Mace Window. Anyways.
Did you just drop the N-word?
Yeah.
Did you really?
No.
God damn.
God.
There was one podcast we had to delete because he kept fucking saying things that I didn't want to edit out.
I kept dropping the C words, and
Okay, I was about to ask if that was the word.
I kept
What's your favorite fucking word? Can I say fuck on this podcast?
Yeah, that's fine.
I kept crumpling paper and ripping paper like in front of the mic. I was just not happy that day, and I was taking it on the podcast.
Problems
He was having trouble, and he was pissed, and we were pissed about school. We've already talked about this twice on podcasts. One which is unreleased. Well, perfect. Anyways, I completely forgot he died in the movie because they literally just go, what was the line? Everyone on the bridge is dead, including Admiral Ackbar.
Yeah, because he was the only the character you gave a shit about because he was from Return of the Jedi. Out of all those Force Awakens generals that were there that no one cared about,
his race is that whenever you see someone of his race, you immediately think there is someone in the movie theater who thinks that's Admiral Ackbar.
Yeah,
and you wait to hear them whisper, Admiral Ackbar.
That was so annoying in Rogue One when he wasn't even the same color as Admiral Ackbar.
Was he like the orange and yellow one?
He was gray and blue.
Oh, gray! Fuck, not even close.
Yeah, that was
the opposite side of the wrong color spectrum. All right, and then two other shitty moments. What were you guys' favorite moments?
Fucking, I could just called you Logan.
All right, Logan.
I'm sorry.
What was your favorite, Logan?
Well, hello, it's me, Logan.
The porgs.
He was on this.
That's a shame.
This channel.
I can't.
Was it the fact that the porgs didn't get like a voice synthesis module like hooked up to their neck, so they went?
Is it because of the Duel of Fates porg version wasn't in the movie that I sent you this morning?
I did not like that. I expected to go into it enjoying it. It wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, how was the score?
It was good. It was a lot better than Force Awakens. Considering John Williams is like in his 90s.
There are two songs that really sucked me into the moments, and it was the fuck is that noise? It was the.
That's my computer restarting.
Okay, that was scary.
It was the water cooler.
Anyway, it was the final encounter with Snoke, and it was.
Oh, that was so good.
It was building up to the to when Luke was going to burn the sacred texts.
And can we talk? Can we talk about this being one of the best and worst movies of the film?
I was just going to ask if it was the least favorite or the most favorite.
Oh god, it was both. Okay, so first of all,
Ghost Yoda.
So Yoda shows up, and it's Frank Oz as Yoda, and it's not Frank Oz moving the puppet of Yoda, which was the same problem I have in the old versions of Phantom Menace, where they didn't CG over the puppet.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't put his hand through a chair in the Phantom Menace, so they just kind of sat him there.
I like it because you see when he walks, his entire body kind of like starts levitating up above him.
They just didn't know how to shoot Yoda. It's like the only person who knew how to shoot Yoda properly was Ivan Kershner for Empire Strikes Back, which is good because it's the most Yoda screen time we have that's not CG Yoda.
Yeah, but who shot Yoda first? Remember that fucking joke? Anyway.
Fuck off.
Talk about the lightning bolt.
What a twist. I shot Yoda first.
Well, no, the whole scene is fine.
Yeah,
My problem with
the scene, I liked it.
The problem with it is it's the same problem I have in Rogue One. They bring these actors back from the original trilogy, and they expect them to sound the same as they did in the original trilogy.
Decades ago.
Like, the original Star Wars is 40 years old now. James Earl Jones doesn't have the Darth Vader voice anymore. He tried for Rogue One, and
he's beyond it.
He sounded old, but Frank Oz sounded super.
I had to look up immediately after the movie ended if it was actually James Earl Jones, because I couldn't tell if it was a really good impression or if it was
A bad
just
him doing his own voice.
yeah, or if it was him forgetting the voice. And then I remembered how old he is and how old the franchise is in it.
Well, that was the problem in Force Awakens with Admiral Ackbar. He sounded terrible.
Yeah,
I think he was dying.
and
he sounds like he's dying.
that voice is also unique and just very distinct. If it changed a little bit, you would know.
Yeah, it wasn't even the guy anymore in Last Jedi. That's why he said one sentence. Because the guy died right after Force Awakens.
I don't even remember the one sentence.
It doesn't matter. Like it's a trap, so no one cared.
It was just a throwaway line.
He should have said it.
Can we get into Leia flying through space?
Yeah,
So Leia's not a Jedi.
I wanted to pretend it didn't happen.
In the new canon, in the expanded universe, Leia became a Jedi and was powerful, so that made sense. But Leia decided not to be a Jedi for no real apparent reason in these new movies. But she has Force powers, but like she's not trained. But somehow, after being sucked into space and freezing over, she flies back into the bridge of the ship.
In the most embarrassing way she possibly could. As just a still statue, she sticks her arms out and just magnetizes herself straight to the ship.
When it first started, I honestly wasn't sure if she was moving back towards the ship or if like my eyes were playing tricks on me. It was like was done so poorly and like my eyes are just crap that for a second I like blinked and thought, oh my god, for a second I thought Leia was just like motion tweening across the screen back towards the ship. And I realized, oh, she is. Oh, they're just sliding her.
I had this moment of like, oh my god, it's gonna be revealed that Kylo Ren boarded the ship and he's there literally just to pull her back onto the bridge and he's gonna leave before they notice. And then she just lands and like collapses. I'm like, oh fuck, that didn't happen. The scene didn't have a twist. She just had force powers for literally no reason to save herself in a scene that didn't need to happen.
But let's get into the funniest scene of the movie.
Okay, what's the funniest scene?
We already talked
Is
about
there
when he
funnier than
drank
the milk?
alien boob.
No. This scene literally made me laugh out loud, and I realized it wasn't supposed to be funny.
Milk is fucking hilarious.
So when Rey finally meets Snoke, and he's just throwing her around and like making her like scream in ways that I haven't screamed. Like she has a hernia. And it's just being like she's just getting beat up. It's like really unpleasant and awful. And then he tells Kylo Ren to kill her, and then he kills Snoke. And I'm like, oh. And then the lightsaber comes out of Snoke, and then he just flops like a fish on the ground.
Oh my god!
The first
it happens
time I
like
saw
2 minutes after he kills him.
No. Oh yeah. When they're doing the slow-mo
he cuts him in half, and then they do this fucking fight, and then like as the fight ends, he goes onto the floor.
No, he did that before.
I'm pretty sure he did.
He falls it before.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
You're
they
thinking
had
of when
they had
Hux moves his body and it makes a weird flop. That's pretty funny too. But like, I laughed out loud, and then I looked around the theater and I looked at Caitlin, and she's like, "It's not funny."
Oh my god, we were laughing in the theater. A couple people laughed.
Like no one else laughed. It was like a full theater.
It was clearly like sustained. But that was a fucking hilarious scene.
Oh my god! It just was super.
If they made like a thunk noise when it hit the ground, not like a, then it wouldn't have been funny.
But it was the fact he just flopped over.
It was just a wet fish sound.
And then they have the fight with all the royal guards,
the red boys.
The not royal, like Return of the Jedi royal guards, the new improved royal guards. My whole problem with the First Order thing is it's just like, let's just make them a little cooler. That's everything in there. Oh, Captain Phasma, the Silver Stormtrooper, shows
just
up.
about to ask how you felt about her really fucking.
I read her terrible prequel novel and reviewed it on this channel. I read the comic that explained how she escaped from the trash compactor, so I knew she was going to be in the film. And I like the actress that plays her. I actually like Phasma. I wish she was used more.
I was going to say I really like the actress.
Fight scene in the whole movie because it's not edited like an American style action movie. It's like mostly one take.
That's because it's not people flipping over each other and
The thing with all the lightsaber battles in these new movies is they cut away before the sabers strike.
Yeah,
that's the problem. And I watch a lot
classics
of foreign
are
films.
just one shot that slowly pans over as you get to see them fight, and that's awesome.
And it's like a drag out.
It's scary
brawl. Like if he had pulled her helmet off and punched her in the face, and like they were just beating each other and rolling on the ground, it would have fit.
I almost expected that and
then Rose did nothing.
Did her helmet get like a piece knocked off?
Oh yeah, well he hits her with that Electro Club thing, the Billy Club.
When that happened,
Billy Club.
When that happened, her their helmet like blew off. I thought that was gonna happen. I thought it was gonna be like a fucking anime character like uppercut and her like helmet would pop off, and then she'd just pop him in the head and they'd just throw it on their weapon and start beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, that
it felt like it.
Well, have you seen her in Game of Thrones?
There's something. No, I haven't watched Game of Thrones,
but there's a fight she has with someone that becomes a knockout, drag out,
that's fucking awesome.
Brawl, and it's like a lot of people hated it, but I absolutely loved it because it was like dirty fighting.
Yeah, when it feels like the characters hate each other and are actually trying to kill each other, that's what I like those things more than the lightsaber duels. Like even when it's just the force fights where you don't know what you're supposed to be like.
Yeah.
How you're supposed to be taking the tension. You're like, yeah, go be better at using the force than him. It still feels like they're trying to kill each other because it's playing terrifying noises and the soundtrack's scary. Like it doesn't take much to add some sinister feeling to a movie. Like when they had when they had the big fucking what was the big ship called? I don't want to call it the wrong thing. It wasn't a Star Destroyer, was it? No, it was
the Dreadnought.
Dreadnought. I knew it had one of those.
You could call
Leviathan.
It is a Star Destroyer, but it's a Dreadnought specifically.
Yeah, I wanted to get into specifics
because they're lazy.
The first time it shoots its cannons, it makes a horrifying noise. It's like
Poe fighting it was stupid.
Yeah, the fight was stupid. I don't want to talk about the ship drop scene. That was another
the B-17 bombers in space.
Okay, I said didn't want to talk about it, but we have to mention the
B-17 bomber impersonation.
We have to bring up the fight. Like it
Poe is a useless character in this movie, and it's upsetting.
The whole battle was rushed, I believe, to make it so that you looked at the character who was made the whole plan and went, oh, he's an idiot, but at least he's got something. I think it's trying to make you feel like that, but when also like the sister of fucking when Rose's sister.
Oh, Paige.
The
only reason I know is I read their terrible prequel novel.
When her spaceship like blows up, but then doesn't blow up when it's been hit by the same thing everyone else has, it just kind of get torn apart, and she's knocked out, and then she wakes up some seconds after she got knocked out, and space is open, but she's breathing fine, and she reaches over and fucking kicks the ladder 14 times, even though she just got knocked out and is badly hurt. That I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking with so many of these scenes. It's like they got a couple fights very well, like. The Snoke, I can't even call it like the Snoke fight. Like when they
fight all of his guards.
Yeah, that's a fight, and I didn't have a problem with that.
It was okay.
I didn't like how many different people they fought because you couldn't really tell what was going on.
The same.
Yeah, they looked the same. You could only tell them they're different because of their weapons.
Mm-hmm. The choreography on it wasn't that impressive.
Yeah.
I remember watching
that's the thing with these new
that's
canon
why it was
movies.
Okay.
Like the thing is, we were all young when The Phantom Menace came out. I don't know if you two saw it on the big screen, but I saw it 3 times.
I did not.
It is the best choreographed lightsaber fight. Is that end fight? Like, you had 2 of the guys had fighting experience. Hugh McGregor was I think he was a competition fence guy. Like he fenced in college.
Yeah, a fence guy.
Yeah, I don't know what you call a fencer.
Yeah, just fencer.
It doesn't sound right.
It's fencer.
But the guy who played Darth Maul is a martial artist, and like Liam Neeson did Rob Roy, so he was used to choreography. So like it was like that was like a legit fight, and it was like really well choreographed. And so you got used to that. Even with the other two prequel movies, they weren't as good with the fight scenes as that, but they were all pretty solid fight scenes, except for CG Yoda. That was kind of stupid. But
I forgot about him.
As a child, or maybe
as a child, it was really
almost
cool.
Teenager. I remember watching Yoda in the one part where he fucking does lands in the air and flips again.
And his gravity is all wrong.
As a kid, I remember looking at that and going, that's not right. I think that they published this movie unfinished. That they should have edited that out.
As he flips and he kind of drops and then he lifts up again during the flip. It's kind of nice.
But with Force Awakens,
yeah,
the fight scenes in it were appallingly bad.
Mm-hmm.
All of it was just very. It was like two people. They just told them to swing at each other, and they're like, that'll be a good fight scene, and then they didn't polish it up at all.
Force Awakens didn't have anything that really stuck out to me. Am I forgetting anything, or
Force Awakens is just A New Hope with gender swapping and with a bigger Death Star?
I heard a million friends say it was absolutely incredible and they can't wait to watch new Star Wars movies, but I
didn't get that. I was drunk when I saw it. It's the only Star Wars movie I've only seen once on the big screen.
In the end, Star Wars fans just like Star Wars. That's as far as it goes.
I liked Rogue One because it was different.
I like certain pieces of Rogue One.
I mean, I don't like Jyn. What was her name? Who played Jyn Erso?
I
she
don't
was
remember
really
characters
boring.
ever.
She's the main.
I couldn't stand her.
Female. Her acting. She's a better actress. I don't know what her deal was in that. But all the side characters were pretty cool. And Darth Vader murdered a bunch of people with a lightsaber, and it was a better fight than in Force Awakens.
They did a great job of making most of the encounters seem important and fun, with the two exceptions that come off the top of my head. When Blind Man started beating up a bunch of stormtroopers with a stick, and well,
that's Donnie Yen. He's a known Chinese actor. He's done a lot of martial arts.
Regardless,
stuff. He's a really good martial artist, but they just didn't know how to edit it.
Regardless, he's literally hitting people with a stick, and they're just dropping.
Well, I think
it's not like a laser stick. It's
implied that he's very force sensitive, and he's channeling the force through the staff.
All they had to add is a little thump when it gets hit. That's all you have to add. You don't even have to add a visual effect. Just make a.
I think this means we should buy surround sound
just
and
make
watch Rogue One.
Big
and
heavy
see
blunt.
What sound they did use.
Just take a giant sponge and take a big rubber mallet and just slam it on and go. That's a good sound effect. We'll keep that. Do it 4 times and you have it.
But
just hit him with a rubber mallet.
This movie, I don't know. I want to like it. I liked it the second time I saw it compared to the first. The first I got nauseous and had a raging headache for 3 hours afterwards. That's because we sat too close to the screen.
I still like the movie, but I definitely had problems with it.
My dad says it's his second favorite movie next to Empire because of all the spiritual stuff in it, and that's the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
is Luke's arc is beautiful.
Okay, we're finally in favorites.
That is the number one thing they did well is Luke's I don't want to say redemption, but just final understanding of what the Force truly is and how he's affected by how he's one with the Force.
I didn't like how they opened up into it, but by the end of it I was very happy with the decision they made. They kind of had to force their way into it by having him throw away the fucking lightsaber. But if they just eased a little bit more into it, it would have seemed more comfortable. But when he's interacting with girl character,
Rey.
When he's interacting with girl whose name starts with an R,
Rey.
We got Rey, we got Rose, we got girl from from fucking Rogue One,
Jyn,
Erso.
There is an R in there, but it doesn't start with R.
Rogue. We're dealing with when he's talking with fucking Rouge the Bat from Sonic the Hedgehog. You can tell that he's that clearly he. Stop laughing. You can tell that he understands what is to be feared with the Force, and when she's doing the scene where she's swinging her lightsaber next to the rock and then she just fucking rips it in half, you know where you think you know where your character is going, and then you just have to wonder. And at that point, the movie's got you, and now you're finally along for the ride. But until it got to that point, you're wondering what like steps they're taking. But as you said, that's an amazing part of the movie. Fucking around.
Michael stepped on this thumb drive that I lost for like 6 months.
No, it was just sitting on your floor, Jeremy.
I haven't touched that pile all
Jeremy.
that long.
He had in his shoe the whole time. Oh, to quickly close off Silver-Headed Woman, I liked the fight with whatever her name was fighting Finn. The fight itself was awesome. The death I thought was really stupid.
The death made me think that it wasn't like happening.
When she just fell into the fire, I thought like something mystic and ridiculous was going to happen. Like she'd come back.
They were going to pull Star Wars bullshit.
Like she'd come back with her fucking face melted off.
Or it could have been like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, where the guy falls and he disappears
the
from
water.
frame, and
Yeah,
just
he falls and he shrinks, and then he just literally disappears. And the it's not even a small effect. It's just a big splash, and they make it tiny.
There's no splash effect.
Oh yeah, they play sound effect. That's right.
They just play a
sound effect as the wave rolls over. Fuck. Oh god. But yeah, I thought I was totally prepared. I was like, okay, she's not dead. She's gonna come back with the only thing keeping her intact is the edge of her life. She cannot make it through no medical help can save her. She's gonna come back purely just with the rage, and she's gonna come and either kill him or she's gonna near fatally wound him, and then we're gonna have to wonder whether he'll make it out or not. And they're already so low on people that it's gonna be a super tense moment. And then she just falls through the fire. I'm like, all right, here it is. And then they cut away, and then the characters all fly off, and I didn't understand, like, why did they build the character up so much for her to just die in a 10-second scene? Like, the moment the fight ended, it was just her death. They didn't linger on it. He didn't say like a dumb one-liner. He didn't say a one-liner, did he? She
said, "You're scum," and then he said, "Rebel scum," and then he hit her in the face.
Never mind.
But like, you know what? It wasn't bad. You know, as far as Star Wars like dialogue at times goes, it wasn't C-3PO saying, "Oh, this is a drag," as R2-D2 drags his head around in Attack of the Clones.
As R2-D2 takes a drag of a cigarette.
It wasn't Jar Jar speaking.
That's true.
So
you're setting the bar really low, Jeremy.
A third favorite? Is that third favorite? Jar Jar wasn't in the movie. I really appreciate that.
Okay, so
wait,
can we just go into?
No, there was the scene.
Where he drank Jar Jar's milk.
Oh my god,
that was Jar Jar.
No.
He was just that obese.
There was a scene where there was a scene where Kylo was supposed to kill Rey, and instead he killed Jar Jar.
Oh, that was funny. That was hilarious.
Supreme Leader Jar Jar.
When Snoke was connecting them telepathically, and Kylo is staying there shirtless, and he looks up, and Jar Jar starts waving his hands like, "Oh, put some clothes on." It's like, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Master Jar Jar." And then Snoke goes, "Ah!" And then he waves his hand, and the screen shuts off.
Caitlin that was like one of her worst things.
Yeah,
Adam Driver without a shirt on was like.
I didn't like that scene either. I can't blame her.
You know, he doesn't look terrible. He
Why
doesn't
did that
look like
scene
a brick.
happen?
Just so he could flex.
So he could have his fucking.
It was just...
So his grandpa tight leather pants up to his belly button.
Oh my god! Yeah, that was
funniest.
That was so weird.
I guess if I was in one of the most high-profile movies of all time, and I wasn't clearly aware that I don't have muscles to show off, I would probably be like, "Hey, director, sneak me in a 10-second clip where I can show the ladies."
Okay, let's be honest. Adam Driver's in the best shape of all of those actors. Like he was a Marine in real life.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he got medically discharged before going to the Middle East, and then became an actor.
Oh,
but like he's in really good shape,
is so deep.
And he put like a whole lot of work into the fights that they edited horribly. And he was in really good shape, and he's the only shirtless guy in Star Wars.
I
think so.
If I worked on that movie, every scene I was in, whenever the camera wasn't on me, I'd be working up a half chub. I mean,
but
you gotta show off what you got.
Like,
I don't got the muscles.
He's not in Wolverine shape though. He didn't dehydrate himself that day. His muscles would be defined.
Jesus Christ!
Oh
It was more like a natural, like for his size. You know, he didn't look like a brick.
He's a big boy.
He is. He's like gigantic. He's like David Prowse, who was the body of Darth Vader size.
All right, I'm sure you'll have something to say about this. I think like one of my favorites was simultaneously one of my least favorites in far of moments in the movie.
Why wasn't Darth Vader in the movie?
Yeah, that was
they had enough with his fucking skull, you know.
All right,
in Force Awakens,
the scene where social justice grandma is like alone on the ship.
Oh,
she
pink hair.
Yeah, Holdo.
Yeah,
she
Dildo.
was. Oh God,
she was there so you could hate her, and then when she sacrificed herself, you wouldn't
care.
You went, I looked at her the wrong way.
Hold on,
but I didn't.
I
look
love
at
Star
her the
Wars.
wrong way. She was a jackass.
Yeah, it was transparent. I mean,
yeah, go on, Michael.
She's garbage, but. No, that's another one of my least favorites. Is just her whole character.
She's cute,
but specifically, I was gonna say when she like her death, how she crashed into the big old ship.
That scene.
Oh yeah, the hyperspace. Hyperspace doesn't work that way, but
it gave me a tickle to watch. It was satisfying to watch, but everything inside of me was pissed off.
It was
about
visually stunning.
Okay,
I'll give it
yes,
that.
I was gonna say
that's why it's one of my tops, was because it looked great, but I didn't like that it happened. It was stupid. Like you said, hyperspeed doesn't work like that.
I mean, she wouldn't have gone through all of them. She would have destroyed She would have destroyed Snoke's ship.
Okay,
she hit it.
I thought they were gonna stop there.
But like, Han Solo explains it in the original Star Wars. You don't just like go through stuff. You kind of stop if you don't have the right hyperspace coordinates. Like, you stop in a supernova. You don't go through it and expect to be okay. You know?
Yeah, I felt the same because watching the scene, I kind of like lifted an eyebrow. I was like, that looks pretty good. And I heard a couple people go, ooh, when it happened. But we all knew it was wrong.
If that was if that was a viable tactic, that would be a very primary form of fucking space warfare. Is just launch shit at things at hyperspeed.
That's all I could think of for like the longest time was the tiny little fighters shooting off. I'm like, why not why not just get a little drone to shoot a thing off in hyperspeed? Why not just shoot little BB pellets in fucking hyperspeed?
If that was a fucking tactic that people could use, she wouldn't be the only person to ever do it.
Why do we have lasers?
Okay, so Star Wars is not scientifically accurate. There's no sound in space. There's no fire in space. But like,
the sound's all editing. They don't have sound when they're recording it in space.
Well, shut the fuck up.
They do have fire when they're recording it in space.
It was live.
That's real.
But the hyperspace thing, it's said in the original movie, but it doesn't work, and they just did it anyway.
Calm down, Whitey.
It was the same thing in Force Awakens when they take off from Lightspeed in the hangar. That was stupid, and then they come out of Lightspeed on the planet. That's some Dave Filoni Clone Wars stuff when they did Lightspeed through a planet. They did through a nebula, that's right, and it made no fucking sense. That was a plot line. They did that in the first season, and I stopped watching the show because of it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, genuinely, I thought that was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen until I saw the, let's talk about Clone Wars real quick, since this is Backpedalers podcast.
Clone Wars, alright.
So I've been watching...
Alright, that was my least favorite part of The Last Jedi was the Clone Wars.
No clones. What the fuck? David Lynch. What are you doing with Star Wars?
Dave Filoni. Don't you bring David Lynch into this.
Captain Fallopian, what are you doing with the Star Wars franchise?
I'm still wondering what that little Jar Jar fetus is made of. What is it? Go on. Clone Wars.
I just watched
How
Twin
funny
Peaks. Is it? That's David Lynch. So I've like been on this David Lynch.
I watched Eraserhead like once, and
it's terrible.
I couldn't fucking...
I can't stand it. I don't know why people like it.
I hated it, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I watched it again. Like, I like it.
I don't like it. I just don't. I've tried to like Eraserhead, but I don't get the
I came
appeal.
into it absolutely, like, no idea what to expect. and then just try to dissect it the whole movie, and that pissed me off. And there's so much stuff that still pisses me off.
But
anyway, Clone Wars, starring
Wars,
David Lynch.
Oh, definitely.
Starring.
But, like, there was an episode of Clone Wars where Padme needs a cake topper for her cake, and so R2-D2 and C-3PO go and find one.
This is Seinfeld.
And they end up getting tortured by Cad Bane, the main bounty hunter villain.
Okay, I remember that.
Reason.
I remember that.
Well, yeah, in Return of the Jedi, that's established.
Yeah, they got the little robot, and they're burning its feet, and they go.
He's like, no.
Oh yeah, he screams the fucking greatest scream. I gotta find that.
You should have done a Wilhelm scream.
Wasn't Jar Jar like looking at it?
There's a bunch of Jar Jar episodes in Clone Wars that are all terrible. Like they get different actors to be Jar Jar. And
oh my god,
they get worse each time.
Okay, that's an I-directed Star Wars.
There's the behind the scenes Jar Jar.
There's a 2-part Jar Jar Mace Windu story arc in season 6. Jar Jar Mace Windu, and Jar Jar has a girlfriend, and she's even more annoying. He doesn't want anything to do with her.
Who the fuck?
Oh, they're called
That
gonks.
was a good idea.
George Lucas and Dave Filoni made that.
Okay.
The fucking gonks. It's great. You can torture
the
a
sound
robot.
design guy in the I think it's the sound design guy in the commentary for Return of the Jedi is like, and George are both talking about that, and they're like, I don't know if we should put that in the movie. That's kind of stupid. And it cuts to when because it was the special edition. It cuts to when they change out the song that weird mouth alien sings in Return of the Jedi.
I thought you were gonna.
Which the first song's pretty good.
I think you're gonna talk about the scene where Jar Jar looks at the camel-looking thing and it rips ass in his face, and then it looks at him.
And
shoots
have
a wink.
you seen the fetish post of that?
Yes, I fucking love it.
I
laugh
hate
so
it.
fucking hard.
I think I sent that to Sierra.
Why?
Because I'm like, Sierra, you need to see this.
I fucking love that post.
I either sent it to Sierra or I sent it to Decker. I think I sent it to Sierra though.
I gotta find the comments so I can read it out loud.
Oh god. Well, no.
This is the fucking comment hour.
Basically,
okay.
I sent it. I think I posted it on one of my YouTube social media things. So I think everyone's seen it that watches the show.
Right. Did you get your main point of Clone Wars, or did we just get to torturing robots? I can't remember.
But yeah, no, the Padme cake topper, or someone poisoned Padme's tea. That's an episode.
These just sound like ideas that they have for the movie, and just like drop in like a giant hat, and they pull 3 out.
Well, fucking Dave Filoni likes to rewrite history.
Yeah.
Like he decided last year that he helped George come up with the expanded universe.
All right.
Even though he wasn't a part of the expanded universe till 2008, when it started in 1978.
Oh my god.
Well, maybe he had some behind the scenes.
Dave Filoni wasn't. Dave Filoni's not that old.
Well,
I don't even think he was alive for the original Star Wars.
I mean, how old was Anakin's voice actor? How old was Anakin's fucking actor? Yeah, I mean, he was involved. He could have been involved in the expanded universe. Maybe that was him. Was that Dave Filoni?
And that's the end of the show. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. And have a nice day. Let's record one about Michael.